The New Mexico Children, Youth, and Families Department partners with communities around the state to strengthen families and improve quality of life, which is why the agency is reaching out to communities to keep kids safe. And here to tell us about a new and simple way to prevent child abuse and neglect is CYFD Cabinet Secretary Yolanda Deines. And I'm so happy to have you, Yolanda. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much. It's great for you to have me here. I appreciate it.
Well, it is good to have you here because it is very important, and it's you know, we were just talking about death and funerals, and that's a taboo subject, and so is child abuse. It's something a lot of people don't want to talk about, but we have to face as a reality. And so what I want to do is I want to talk about the fact that it is easy to keep kids safe, isn't it, Yolanda?
Very easy. It's easy for communities to keep kids safe. It's tough for parents to be parents, and so we have to acknowledge that. But a simple phone call will allow us to get involved with the family and provide the services they need to provide a healthier, safer family environment for children.
So really just a phone call. So tell me how you're telling people to ask for help when they are dealing with child abuse.
During Child Abuse Prevention Month, we rolled out a new reporting number. It's very simple to remember. It's easy to hear and think about. It's pound safe. On a cell phone, all you have to do is dial pound safe. Of course, our smartphones aren't as smart as we'd like. So it's pound 7233.
So we need to use a little brain power there too.
Every once in a while.
Pound 7233, and I think it would be nice to actually program that into your phone just to have it. And I want to ask you, what can a caller expect when they dial that number?
They can expect to reach either a live body or get on a phone tree and be talking to a live person within 5 to 15 seconds.
Seconds. See, that's what I want to hear, because I think people worry about that. And I think another thing that people worry about is, will somebody find out that I've called? So can they call anonymously?
They certainly can call anonymously. Our concern is the safety of children. We're not concerned about who's deciding that call. It's just important that people call and report when they're concerned about the safety of a child.
Do you find that it's more the children calling or parents? Who is really calling the number?
Well, children don't tend to call because they believe they deserve the treatment they're getting. So that's the unfortunate part about child abuse.
I hate that.
It's usually a concerned adult that will be calling. Unfortunately, a lot of times people abuse this number and use it to get back at the ex or at the neighbor they're unhappy with.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you, I was wondering if there were any false accusations or if you were getting calls that were just not legit.
We receive malicious calls all the time. We're trying to discourage it. Hopefully we're reducing that number. And we're asking people to use their own judgment and realize there are other ways to get back at people. Don't tie up the lines and keep children who need help from getting it, because we're attending to their problems.
Absolutely. And how do you evaluate the calls?
We have supervisors who screen the calls, who make a determination, and then direct them to the area of the state where the call is coming from, so that we can get an investigator out to look into the situation.
Okay, so now we take that first step, but then we have to move forward from there. So how do you proceed after child abuse or neglect is reported?
When it's reported, we have the screening in or screening out of a report. We direct it to the appropriate authority in the area where the abuse is supposed to be taking place. We determine a priority on the call, because certainly there are calls that are an immediate emergency. Child is injured and in the hospital, or abandoned, any number of issues there. Or we have the option of responding in 2 days or 5 days. And all of that is determined by the supervisor that's sending out the calls. And then we have a worker that goes out and initiates that call, usually with law enforcement, because if there is the potential for removal, we don't have the authority to remove a child. It has to be done by law enforcement.
So you know that there is law enforcement along for the ride, and that's good to know.
Yes.
And so now the next logical question is, you have this new number, you're trying to make it easier and simpler. Have you been finding that calls have increased since doing so?
Oh, they definitely have. It's been a real good tool for New Mexico. We've nearly doubled our calls every month since we've initiated the number. From last year, calls have nearly doubled.
So people are finally coming forward and they feel more comfortable to do so. And you also offer other resources. So tell parents other things that they can rely on you for.
Well, you know, we're not about removing kids.
Okay.
We're about creating safe environments for kids.
Great.
And so parents, you know, people refer to them as good parents. I think all parents are good. Some of them have less resources than others.
Right.
And so one of the things that we're doing is we have a site that's called NewMexicoKids.org.
Okay.
That people can go to access all kinds of resources for
NewMexicoKids.org.
NewMexicoKids.org.
Great.
And they can go there to access all kinds of information around child raising, parenting, early learning.
Oh, that's a wonderful resource. And I think so many people will appreciate that they have it there for them. And you know, and again, especially when you're talking about online, talk about anonymity. You can go on, you can just read what you need to read, know what you need to know, and take care of yourselves and your children. And it's wonderful that you're offering this to people out there. And tell them the number one more time. It's easy.
Pound safe.
Pound safe. Don't forget it.
855-333-7233 from a landline.
Fabulous. Yolanda, thank you for being here, and thanks for taking care of those kids out there who need you so badly. And coming up, we'll introduce you to hot Albuquerque singles. Whew, it's getting hot in here.